Hi, we want to welcome everyone to New York Europe's first SUNY EOP Ambassadors panel. As you know, New York Europe serves students across New York State by promoting college and career opportunities, and we are so excited for this partnership through the State University of New York's Educational Opportunity Program. Today we have Donavon King, the Operations Manager of the Office of Opportunity Programs, and his team of EOP ambassadors, Dmya, Pyo, and Aryon. The EOP ambassadors on this meet are currently enrolled in colleges and universities across New York State. Before we begin, I want to give you a quick overview of today's panel. We'll start with Donavon giving us an introduction to the EOP program. Then we'll ask Dmya, Pio, and Aryon some questions that you all have pre-submitted. And after that, we'll give you some time to ask questions in the chat. We are so excited to have you here today, and we hope you enjoy the panel. I'm going to pass the mic to Donavon to start off the panel.
Again, my name is Donavon King. I'm the operations manager for the Office of Opportunity Programs. If you don't know that, you might know of different SUNY schools like SUNY Albany, SUNY Binghamton. The headquarters for SUNY is in Albany, New York. I am the operations manager for the Office of Opportunity Programs that runs all of the EOP programs across New York State, which is on 54 campuses out of SUNY's 64 campuses. In that capacity, I also manage the SUNY EOP ambassadors, which are a small group of select students that represent our program across New York State. They help us with recruitment for talking to students like yourselves, family members, community members, and different folks about how to get into EOP, what EOP can provide, majors, college life, how EOP can kind of alleviate a lot of the lift for students who might be a little bit weary about college, about how to pay for college, about on, if they can get proper supports in college. They also help us with advocating for the program. We're a federally funded program, and we advocate every year to make sure that we're consistently funded and that we can constantly give to students who want to go to college. Making sure we're supporting our freshmen. A lot of our incoming freshmen are first generation, sometimes firstborn in America, as well. So, we want to make sure that they're represented, they have the resources they need. So we do a lot of our programming and a lot of what we do advocacy wise to make sure that they're represented on a state and of course I would say legislative basis. We make sure the voices of the state is heard through these students and our office. So I will switch it over to the students and have them each, the order that I see is Dmya, Aryon, and then Pio. So I'll have them introduce themselves, just say what your name is, where did you go to school, and what are you studying?
Hi guys, my name is Dmya. I go to school at the University at Buffalo and I'm studying public health.
Hi everyone, I'm Pyo. I attend Mohawk Valley Community College and I'm studying health sciences right now.
Hi guys, so my name is Aryon Holley. I go to SUNY FIT. Right now I'm studying advertising and marketing communications with a minor in psychology.
All right, thank you guys for that. We can just go in the same order and let's just talk about how did you pick your college and how did you pick the major that you got into? And if there was some adjustments in the journey with picking your major, you can also talk a little bit about that, but we can go in the same order as before.
So honestly, the way I picked my school is I'm from the Bronx, so I picked the furthest school that I could go to without having to pay too much money. So University at Buffalo was the choice. And getting into public health was kind of random because I started out as a nursing major, but the nursing program here at the University at Buffalo is very small. So I ended up having to change my major after having a bunch of bad grades my first semester. So changed my major, I changed it to exercise science, then I went back to nursing, then I went to health and human services, back to nursing, and then back to public health. So got here because this is like the best major to be in if you're trying to do anything in like the health sciences because there's a lot of overlap in those classes.
Hi everyone. So initially, I wanted to be a teacher, but I always knew that I wanted to work with kids. So it was basically like a back and forth between myself of if I wanted to go into nursing or if I wanted to be a teacher. And at MVCC is the most local school around my area. Like the high school that I went to is literally right down the hill. So this was the more known like colleges in my area. So that's basically why I chose it. And then choosing between health sciences and education, my school has like a more I guess diverse health program. So that's basically why I chose MVCC and my major.
Hi guys. So like Dmya, I am from the Bronx. We had a different way of picking schools. I put in all the schools that was closest to the 5 boroughs because I wanted to be close to home, but I did want to live on campus. So it was gonna be like a weird way to choose schools. Farmingdale was up there and so was FIT, but FIT had a lot of the majors that I wanted. At first, I wanted to go into toy design. I wanted to go into children's book design because like Pio said, I do like working with kids as well. So in my brain, I did want to be a teacher, but overall, I was just undecided. I knew I wanted to go to college, but in terms of the major, I did not know. After visiting FIT and scrolling through and seeing that FIT is actually split into two different schools, I'm actually in the business and technology side of the school. And I choose advertising and marketing communications because I do love to talk. And growing up from K through 12, I always made it a priority to try to brand myself or at least get myself out there. And after reading the major, that's what I assumed the criteria was for the major. So that's how I picked my school and my major.
Thank you for that, guys. I'll turn it over to Tessa.
Kyle, can you tell us what is EOP and what does it mean for you to be an EOP ambassador?
So EOP stands for the Educational Opportunity Program, which is designed to basically help and support students in higher education, and it provides academic, financial, and personal support to help students succeed in college. And as an EOP ambassador, to me, it means to be a role model and advocate for other students in the program, and it involves sharing personal experiences, offering guidance, and helping new and current EOP students navigate college life. And it also means representing EOP's mission of access, equity, and student access while fostering a supportive and inclusive community.
That's
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Pio. Aryon, could you, what does the EOP program look like at FIT? Why did you decide to apply for EOP in the first place?
So my EOP journey is not as traditional as a lot of the other EOP cases that we have. So to be in the EOP program, one of the requirements is you actually do, it has to be your first year of college, or you have to have a certain level of credits, under a certain level of credits. Now, for me, I was actually brought into the FIT's admissions as a regular admit student. And at the time, there was a lot of personal things that were going on that could hinder me from college. So I did get in contact with one of my high school advisors. His name was Mr. McCrae, and he actually knew somebody in the EOP office at FIT who happens to be the director of the program, Tor Orange. So when I was having my hardships and I decided that I might have to take a break from college just because it seems like I might not be able to pay, I might not have some of the resources I would like. Mr. McCrae and Tor Orange talked to me about the EOP program. And afterwards, it was like just a journey, the easiest journey in the world, though, but a journey to just become an EOP student rather than a regular admit student. After becoming a regular admit student at FIT, after becoming an EOP student at FIT, we went automatically to our summer program, and that's when I got to see the EOP culture at the school. So what EOP looks like at FIT is just a bunch of people who never met each other, who we all have the same goal, and the goal is just to have fun and go to college. So at our EOP, we have someone named Tor Orange. A lot of people in the EOP areas know her, regardless if they're from Albany or Buffalo. She makes sure that we are set up before we even set foot in the doors to our first classes. So at EOP for FIT, we actually do major related classes before the semester starts. We have writer's block workshops. So we have a lot of things that's catered to FIT students. And the EOP portion is just making sure that we all feel included, we all feel safe and heard. And it's also an open funnel for us to tell them things that we might need. So the writer's block workshop came before midterms, because a lot of midterms you need to write, and a lot of these creative students did not know where to start. So my EOP program is just very engaged with all of the students. We try to make sure that we're all connected with each other, as well as sometimes we reach out to other EOP offices. So that's how it looks at FIT.
Thank you, Aryon. I actually just think it would just be worth it to also hear you talk about what it means to be an EOP ambassador to you as well.
So being an EOP ambassador, not just for the SUNY level, but for FIT level, is very dear to my heart. Growing up, my mom, I was always a talkative person. Sometimes, you can't talk back to your parents. But anyways, my nickname became the spokesperson of my household. I have 2 older sisters and 2 little brothers, and I always wanted to listen to people, advocate my own voice, or help them amplify theirs. And being an EOP ambassador opened that door for me to do so in the ways that I've always wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do. So in the ambassadorship, like the 2 other panelists have said, we, for the EOP ambassadorship, we advocate for our program to legislatives. We also help our peers in our program. So I make sure that FIT EOP students are not failing. If they are failing, we're trying to figure out how we can stop, because failing is continuous. There's a way that we can work around that. And then also, like the GEAR UP program, just talking to students that haven't got to college yet, or who even haven't gotten to high school. K through 12 was a beautiful time for me, where sometimes it was just like, rainbows and butterflies. Sometimes it was a little bit of tears. But being an EOP ambassador helps me, one, relearn all the things that I might have learned K through 12, talking to these prospective students. And then also, it gives my heart a little bit of a purpose. Being in advocacy for my EOP program, as well as all EOP programs across the 54 campuses. And then simply representing FIT is just like the icing on the cake, because it's FIT. So yay.
That's amazing. Thank you. So all of our questions that we have been written by people that are attending the panel. So all of our students that are attending the panel right now are New York Europe students. Most of them are in 9th grade. And one of our students wanted to know, what advice would you give to a 9th grader who wants to go to college?
I would say, first, I would say enjoy your high school years, because you're going to go to college and you're going to become an adult and everything's going to start happening too quickly. So enjoy the time, the last few years you have as like a kid, basically. But to prepare to go to college, I would honestly say just learn how to study, learn how to take notes, learn all of that stuff, and like really like set yourself up from now to be able to do all of that stuff on your own. Because in high school, it's a little more like your teachers are gonna, tell you like, hey, like you didn't turn in this assignment, or, things like that. Professors, they don't say anything. So you have to really learn how to be independent with your studies, which could be hard when you're adjusting to a new environment if you go away and things like that.
Thank you. Could you also just take a moment and tell me what sorry about that. Could you all just take a moment and tell me what year you guys are in college? Sorry, that was a question from the chat.
I'm a senior.
This is my second year.
Hi guys. So if I'm being honest, technically, I am a senior, but I am not gonna graduate until I get all I want out of college. So I'm a senior, technically.
It's a sign, guys, that college is not it's not a one direction type of thing. There's a lot of different paths you can take through college, and everybody has their own timeline. I'm gonna go to the next kind of going back to that high school space. This is open to the group for who wants to answer, but did you take any specific classes in high school that helped you in college?
I can
You go first.
Oh, thank you. I can answer that very, very briefly. So in my high school was closing down towards my junior year. So a lot of the juniors, along with myself, actually already finished a lot of our senior classes. So for our senior year, they added a lot of classes that had to do with some of the college avenues that we wanted to go to. So in high school, I remember my senior year taking trig, taking copywriting, and I think the last one was video journalism, and that was the capstone to why I chose my major.
I would say probably just like my math classes, because I was able to like keep my notes from those for that first and like literally last math class that I was gonna take. So that helped, as well as a college writing that my school had that was sponsored through St. Joseph's College in Brooklyn, I think. So it wasn't like AP where you had to like take the test and get the credit. So I automatically had those credits. So I was able to like skip an English class because I already had those credits.
Thank you. And I'll pass it back over to Tessa.
I think that's really good advice, right? Looking at those AP classes or classes that you can take where it's college and the high school. And also, I heard both of you say English, which makes me think that having those writing skills is really helpful for college. Let's see. Aryon, can you tell us, how is college different than high school?
Hey guys. So like Dmya said, when it comes to the independence of college, it's all about you. I like to tell people, especially now that I'm like approaching my senior year, and like what it means to me is that, like Don said, it's not a linear path. And then also we have to rework some of the ways like we understand the education system. So the way it's different from high school is you're independent, you are choosing your classes, you are making your schedule, you are figuring out your friends. You don't have to be friends with the people sitting at the table with you anymore. You don't have to have, you know, like because they're around, now you have to be around them. You have to be friendly, all those things. When it comes to studying and when it comes to the workload, um, you are picking your professor, and like let's say that there's a math class, they have four different professors, four different times to take that class. There's different resources to introduce you to your professors before you even pick them, so you have a lot of freedoms in making sure that your academic career is beneficial to you. I know in high school they give you your schedule, you're in a specific class, it's very much micromanaged. And don't get me wrong, I was someone who actually needed to be micromanaged quite a lot. I don't like doing homework, and it was always a problem K through 12. But after going into my college years, although at first I started not trying to do homework, I'm like, oh, I will get good grades here, there, or there. College, actually, the material that you're getting back, you're gonna take with you, regardless if you're taking it with you in the field or you're going to be networking. That avenue of information is actually like needed. So it also changes the way you see study groups. It changes the way you see group work. It changes the way you see a night class versus a morning class. Um, Most college freshmen go in and they take 15 credits. That's 5 different classes. And a lot of people get overwhelmed compared to their high school career, because for high school, you might look at your schedule and it's like a 8 a.m. to 3:30 of all these different things that um, the high school liaisons or teachers pick for you. But in college, you pick it for yourself. Most of the time, it's 5 classes for a semester, and you're just relearning how you go into your educational journey. So, because of that, I believe that's how it's very different. You're in control of a lot of things in college.
Thank you. I also just wanted to cut in and say that so to be considered full time, you have to be you have to have more than 3 classes. So there are some freshmen who have decided to take off a course from being overwhelmed. The transition sometimes from high school to college can be a lot for them managing themselves. So those who do express it, sometimes we do say, okay, like let's take this class off, because it just seems like we don't want you to mess yourself up GPA wise, and very early on where you'd be playing catch up for the next few years. I also wanted to ask the group now is, what did you wish you had known in 9th grade about preparing for college? What do you feel like there's information? If you go back and tell yourself now, what would you tell yourself?
Learn everything I could about like being independent. So well, I feel like I did learn what I needed to, like how to cook, how to clean, all of that, but like really learning how to do everything by myself. Like because you get to college and you realize a lot of people don't know how to do like things that you may consider simple. Like for example, like laundry. Not everybody knows how to do their laundry. Things like that, and even just like academically too, like learn how to write, learn how to sit there and like lock in and do what you have to do because you have a deadline. And even if it says 11:59 and you turn it in at 11:59, they're not gonna care. If you try to turn it in at 11:58 and it turned 11:59 before you could turn it in, some professors don't care. They're gonna mark it late. So you like just learning how to be independent in everything, just learning everything I could about being a good student, like being a determined student, just to make sure that I could reach my goals.
Thank you about that. Any of you are free to add to that if you feel as though you have something, but if not, I'll pass it back. Oh, you can go. Yeah.
I would definitely say learn how to study. This might seem really like, what do you mean? But like when you get to college, like there's different subjects that you need to study for, and like high school level studying and college level studying are two different things. That's something I personally struggled with my first year too, because like I knew how to study, but college-wise and like the subjects that I was taking, like your math class and your science class, you need to use like different techniques to study. So I would definitely say find your studying method that will really help you succeed.
Yeah. I'll let Tessa take over.
Okay, Aryon, I know you wanted to tell us, what challenges did you face in high school, and how did EOP help you overcome those challenges in college?
So, one of the challenges that I faced throughout my entire high school career was retaining the information. So, I did grow up with the IEP, and that means it's an individual educational learning plan. And for me, I'm just someone where I can read the information, I can answer it correctly. In terms of it like being in the back of my head for later, it's not. I don't know if you guys watch SpongeBob, but like the SpongeBob episode where he couldn't find the file, and there was a lot of files. K through 12, before I was disciplined enough to like really want to retain information, that's how my brain worked. It was always like getting an A on the test, and then if there was a follow-up test that might have been cumulative, meaning like it goes from beginning to end, it was very spotty. So with that being said, I actually had to start um, doing different study groups as well as having different at the time it was peer mentorship. So there was other high school students who helped me figure out how to study, how to read on my leisure time. And the way the EOP program helped me with that. So I was the salutatorian of my school. My best friend was the valedictorian, A. And leaving high school after failing my freshman year. So I failed my freshman year. It's not like I got like a C or a D and I got a straight F. I didn't go to a lot of my classes my freshman year of high school. We're talking about high school, by the way. I didn't go to any of my classes my freshman year of high school. Converting from middle school into high school was very hard for me. Looking back, I don't know why, but I ended up failing a lot of my classes my freshman year, and it gave me a lot of pressure to like change my life around before I graduate for my senior year. Now, as for my senior year, I was a salutatorian. Things were looking up, but financially, I didn't think I could afford college. And then academic wise, I fit inside of the admissions for FIT. So obviously, I was picked as a regular admit student, but I barely made those markers. And I was very scared that anything can happen and I can just like have 2 markers down and start failing in college too. So the summer program that all EOP students have to attend was a very capstone experience for me to leave some of the stubbornness I have around education in high school, because we would wake up at 6 a.m. It would be a 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. day at our summer program at FIT. And it was kind of like the most loving boot camp I've ever been to. When all we had to do is really read, we had to journal. So I got to learn academic skills that was a challenge for me by like internalizing it. So our writing skills, we had to literally write in journals about our emotions, about our lives, about some of the things that happened. And our professor literally was just editing it for us, talking to us about grammar, et cetera, et cetera. So those are some of the challenges that I faced. And that's the way the EOP program kind of helped me out, getting prepared for the challenges before I even get there.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so glad that you mentioned how high school is difficult, because we just got a question in the chat that I feel like you answered. It's, did you ever feel like you weren't doing well enough in high school to go into college? Right. And so I think that your story is so powerful, right? Like you start off really struggling and you still can turn it around. Thank you.
And I mean, that question can also go to Dmya and Pyo if you want to add anything. Like, did you ever feel like you weren't doing well enough in high school to get into college? Did your performance ever make you nervous?
Yeah, definitely. Because I was one of those students in high school that like freshman year started off like right here. I was like borderline passing a good amount of my classes. It was like my grades were all over the place. And then once I got to junior year, I started looking at my grades and, what are the possibilities of places that I want to go to school? And I'm like looking and it's like, I did improve a little more from, the year before, the 2 years before, and the year before that. But it's just like, with my like cumulative like high school average right now, I'm looking at it, I'm like, am I gonna get to go somewhere that I want to go? So like even just like when it came to application season, personally, like I graduated in 2021, so they weren't requiring, that was when they stopped requiring like the SAT and stuff like that because we couldn't take them because, COVID. So it was really reliant on my actual, grades in high school rather than having a SAT test to back me up, which I knew I wasn't going to do well on anyway. So I was really grateful for that. But on the other hand, like my grades weren't as strong as I thought they should have been. So like even once it got to application season, just like even when like the getting deferred or like not getting into schools, like it just kind of like puts stuff into perspective too.
Thank you.
I have a question. Excuse me, Donavon. Do you think you could explain to everybody how they would apply for the EOP program and what it takes, what the eligibility is?
So again, just to reiterate, EOP is a program that is geared towards people who have socioeconomic disadvantages and challenges that can, again, has affected you financially. We do have an income guideline for your household based on your size. And I can share links with Tessa and Nona to share with you guys to go to our official website. But we do have our income guidelines. We also have our academic guidelines. I always tell people that our financial guidelines are black and white. We can't shift on those because we do have a specific demographic of individuals that we're looking to, those who, traditionally would not be able to afford college. We really want to make sure we're reaching and connecting with individuals who, like, without this program, you would not be able to go to college. The academic part is a bit of a gray area. We do have a list of schools, and with the website that we'll share, you will be able to see what schools have a certain GPA range that they typically accept EOP students and that they typically accept regular admit students. You'll always see that EOP students have a slightly lower GPA general average admit. That doesn't mean that these students are dumb. That doesn't mean these students are whatever. It just means that there were certain challenges that your GPA just could not have. It just didn't meet the certain criteria that the school would regularly admit you. Like you heard Aryon say that, she didn't really take her 9th grade year seriously. And we never know what's going on with people that makes them not take education serious at one point in their life. And then they realize, oh, like, I really do need to, get this back together. But again, once you mess up kind of that 1st and 2nd year, you spend the rest of your years playing catch up and your GPA just may never recover. And a lot of times, so our GPA doesn't always tell our story. So that's why I say it's a gray area. We have a lot of directors that even if you're above or lower than that range, they'll still look at you as long as you fit the financial guidelines. You will go onto our website. Most of our schools go through a SUNY Common app. So you just fill out the information. You will fill out your FAFSA, your financial aid forms. There's different things for people from different backgrounds. I know it's a lot of things going on. So, people from undocumented backgrounds or things like that, there are different ways that we still try to make sure we're protecting students that come from various and dynamic backgrounds. So it's all, and we're really even sitting in meetings just this week, just really talking about how do we protect our students and protect our students' families and still making sure that they can succeed. So again, go into our website, looking at what schools is within your demographic area, seeing what type of application they do. They either do a SUNY Common app or they have their own application. There's very few, like Stony Brook down in Long Island. They're special. They're like one of the top medical universities. They have their own application. They just like to be different. But most schools have a SUNY Common app. The applications look very similar. You would fill it out. The biggest thing that you want to take away, and I know you guys are in 9th grade, so you might forget all of this at the end of the day. If there's anything that you remember, is 3 letters, which is EOP, because there is a line on your application. Sometimes it's bold, sometimes it's not. Whether you feel like you qualify or not, just check the box that said, I'm interested in being considered as an EOP admit. It's some sort of word like, but it also say, I'm interested in the EOP or the Educational Opportunity Program. You'll always just want to click that box for when you do your application, and that's how you would be considered to be admitted for EOP. Did that cover a good amount of that?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. I see some questions in the chat. Don't worry, we'll definitely get to those. I just wanted to have a good flow with some of the other questions we do have for the panelists as well. So don't think I forgot about you guys. Dmya, I know that we talked a little bit about this, but can you tell us, there's 2 things. How do you stay motivated when things get tough? And then 2, what inspires you to keep moving towards your goal?
So I first think about my parents and my grandparents, I'm a first generation American. So I both my parents, my grandparents even, they came here to have this better opportunity for their kids and their futures. So it's I'm the first person with the opportunity to do this. And it's a gift because once you realize how much of an opportunity it is to go to school for free, it's you really just move differently every day because there's so many other people that when it hit me that other people I'm barely paying for school, I'm getting my refund checks even, because that's the thing too, because as an EOP student and you getting certain grants and aid and scholarships and things like that, you are able to get whatever overlap of money is left as a refund check. So now you have money that could go in your pocket. So whether that's pay housing or even get yourself something nice, you never know. So like, you know, things like that, like it's a gift because people have to pay. When it hit me that people have to pay $30,000 to come to my school from like out of state, things like that, I'd be like, damn, that's crazy. Like, because I don't got $30,000. And especially when, you know, like things get really tough and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this schoolwork. I just want to lay down in my bed and sleep all day. I'm like, you know, this is free money that I'm giving away. Like, and once your grades are not at a certain point, you start to lose your aid and your scholarships. Like personally, like my freshman year, like I said, wasn't the strongest, but I was borderline. Like I was right there where I wasn't in jeopardy because of that summer course that I took with EOP for my summer bridge program. So it's just like things like that, like you really realize like, you know, there's so much from this opportunity that you can gain that to throw it away, it would be stupid because there's so many people that wish they had your spot. There's so many people that are just over that financial line where they really wish that they could have had EOP, but now they have to either take out more loans or they have to work full time as well as going to school and things like that. So it's like just cherishing the fact that this is an opportunity and I was given this opportunity for a reason and that I need to make sure that I make the best of it.
Thank you for that. Tessa, I don't know if you want to pass it to one of the questions, the last question we got in the chat.
Sure. So we got 2 questions in the chat. One of them is about study abroad. Have any of you ever studied abroad? And if you did, what year did you study abroad? Or if you haven't studied abroad, do you know someone who did study abroad and what year did they study abroad?
Hi. So FIT is considered an international school. Fun fact. And although we are a community college, which is another fun fact a lot of people forget, we have a lot of big study abroad programs. Now, I've never personally studied abroad. Girl, I was even trying to leave the 5 boroughs. But I love talking to the EOP students at my specific campus who actually might want to do that. So I am going to tell you guys a little bit about a story. When I first ever got my ambassadorship here, I took it upon myself to like stake out our EOP headquarters for like, I'm going to say 2 weeks. So like after class or before class, you will always catch me in my EOP office. What was I waiting for? People. Anybody who came through that door, I was asking them about, well, introducing myself after the fact because it was a little creepy. But for the most part, I was just making sure, like, how's your semester going? What do you want to do for your next semester? All those good things. There was a second year student. She was getting her associates. And one of the rules, as we all talked about, is that to be a full-time student, you need 12 credits, so 12 to 15 credits. And things are case-by-case basis. So for me, the reason I'm technically a senior is because I'm not a full-time student. I'm a part-time student. I'm a part-time student so I can have other responsibilities like the EOP ambassadorship where I'm networking because I personally feel like networking as well as the academic portion of your college journey is very important. For her, she only had 2 more classes, but they were rolled into the fall, and she really wanted to study abroad in Japan. At EOP, and I can't speak about other EOP offices across the panel, but I know for FIT's EOP office, they have opened up a study abroad program specifically that targets EOP students. So there's 4 slots. They don't say that you have to go to Paris or Japan or anything like that, but it's only open to EOP students who are interested in studying abroad, and it's only 4 slots. Now, she was obviously eligible for the 4 spots. Her grades was really good, but she was not graduating on time and she wanted to start her bachelor's in Japan. And that just brings me back to some of the things that you get to learn with every campus. So there's loopholes for her. You have major related courses in college. All of her major related courses was done. The 2 courses that were preventing her from graduating was like GEM and like art history. So she was able to like still get her associates, still study abroad in her bachelor's. But she had 2 additional courses for her associates while studying abroad in Japan. I think she's doing really good because the weather outside right now, and I'm in the Bronx, like I wish I was in Japan. So in terms of studying abroad, campus by campus basis, please make sure you're talking to any ambassadors or directors from that school to know how their study abroad program looks. FIT is known as an international school, so because of that, we have a lot of different study abroad opportunities. But specifically for EOP students at FIT, there's 4 slots specifically for EOP student to have that seat on that plane wherever we're trying to get our education.
Thank you for that. I also want to mention that every campus has an office that's dedicated to teaching you about study abroad, letting you know what opportunities are there to travel and what locations they have, how long it might be. Sometimes it's a semester, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 6 months. You never know. It really depends on how long and how far you want to be from home.
And I realized we jumped there. Study abroad, for some of our friends, study abroad is when you go and you take, so instead of going to your regular college, you go and you take your classes in another country for a certain period of time. So like Donavon said, maybe it's 6 weeks, maybe it's 4 weeks, maybe it's a whole semester of classes, and you're studying in that different country and you're doing your classes there. Sorry, go ahead, Donavon. I know you had the next question.
No problem. Question from the panel is, how do you manage your time between studying, social activities, and other responsibilities that you have?
A calendar. I write everything down. Everything goes in my calendar, my planner, everything all that in the phone. I have to be able to see it because, like, personally, I'm very busy. Like, I'm a very busy person because I work on campus and off campus because I like nice things and I gotta, pay my bills. So, there's certain days, like one semester, sounds crazy, but one semester I worked 2 places on campus and 1 place off campus. And that was the first semester that I made the dean's list. So, it's all relative to you. So you have to learn what you can handle, because I learned if I have too much free time, there's a lot of things that won't get done. So being able to structure my day, granted, I'm not saying that you need a job to structure your time, but learning how to schedule your time, even like before I found like the time blocking like templates, I used to use like the old planner templates that they gave us in high school and schedule templates for us to like color in like when to study and things like that, because you need at least some type of structure to like know, okay, I have this and this, especially with college. You might have a class that is from like 10 a.m. to 11, and then you don't have another class until 3. You are gonna want to go home and take a nap, or be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go back to my room for a second. Now you're asleep. Now you're doing anything else but studying. Taking that, knowing that you need to take that time to go to the library, knowing that, okay, this is the time that I have in between this and this. Let me go and like use your time wisely. Just learning how to use your time wisely is just one of the main things that you need to know.
Thank you. I don't know if anybody else. Go ahead, Aryon.
I would like to add that it is very important when you do have the free time to literally be free. So she did talk about a couple of things and a couple of different avenues of what your life might look like. I'm just gonna speak about today. We're gonna all talk about Aryon today. I work for the Rebecca School, so I work with autistic kids. I'm the head TA in the classroom. My day there starts from 8 a.m. and today is Thursday, so we get out at 3:30. Obviously, I have a panel discussion, so for me, I had to manage out getting out instead of at 3:30 at 3 to be at the panel from 3 to 4, and I also have classes from 6:30 to 9:20 tonight. So that gap between 4 to 6:30 was literally going to be what she said, which was, you feel like taking a nap, and I was going to do that. Now, what I would say is I wouldn't have taken a nap just because I can and I'm lazy, but because I scheduled out all the other things that were important to me to succeed in and to do positively, that the time that I did not have anything, instead of filling it there, my advisor at Tour Orange tells me that sometimes when something is not there, ask yourself what you need instead of what the outside world needs. So obviously we want good grades. Obviously we want the money so we can buy nice things for ourselves. But when we don't have anything to do and when there is a gap in our schedules and we're not forgetting about anything, you know, we're not missing homework, we're not skipping work or anything like that, then take the time for yourself. What I will say is I did get sent home early because I have a fever and I have the flu, but something like this where obviously I'm not going to be doing my schedule that I mapped out also is not hindering because as Dmya talked about, writing things down on a schedule and a planner or whatever you want to use is very important because when things happen that you don't know and that you couldn't have written down, you know what you need to do, and now it's all about moving things around. So if you can write out what you need to do, when things come to kind of make the water a little murky, you already know by heart your schedule, so it's easy to just make the adjustments, make the plans. And for me, I really think that just having time to sit down, do nothing, and really reevaluate like where are you right now helps a lot.
Thank you. You can go ahead, Tessa.
Okay, I'm so glad you both mentioned working because our next question was, do you think it's okay to work and be in college at the same time? And do you have any free time in college? And I feel like both of you answered that really well, right? You both were saying you work and you're in college at the same time, and you balance that by managing your schedules um, and by keeping very detailed track of what you have to do that day, and also scheduling in rest, right? And that's so important in college because your classes aren't the regular times, right? It's not, as you mentioned before, it's not like you're in school from 9 to 3 or 8:30 to 3, right? Sometimes you have classes from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., so it's different. We have time, I think, for one or two more questions. Pyo, I think that you had wanted to answer this one. Can you share a memorable experience you've had as a part of EOP?
So being a part of EOP, you have to go through a mandatory summer program, and I feel like that's one of the most memorable things for, I wouldn't say all EOP students, but a lot of EOP students say that it helps them a lot. And for me, I was
Our connection might have.
an academic peer
We'll wait for our connection to come back and tell her this.
mentor during summer, and and like just seeing super inspiring.
Hey, Pia.
Did I cut out?
You cut out for a little bit, so I know you were talking, and I hate that you have to repeat yourself. We heard
No, that's
a bit of the beginning, but can you just run back a little bit?
Yeah, so I basically said how like the summer program is one of the most memorable things for many of the EOP. I learned how to I met lots of students, and then I also learned how to really get a hold of college and how it generally is. And this past summer I was an academic peer mentor, so I met many of the newer students, and then like many of the trips that we did go on, it was really great to just like get to spend time with them. Not only did I learn from them, but they also learned from me. And I see many of them now on campus, and like just seeing all of their growth is really just it really just shows how much of an impact EOP has on many students.
Thanks so much, Pio. So what does it mean to be a mentor?
So for summer, being a mentor, I was basically like helping or like just being there for many of the students that like the newer freshman students that came in. A lot of them, of course, coming out of high school, you don't really have the hang of college, and that's what the academic summer program is about. We basically have classes or courses, and many of us get to stay in the dorms, and like we also have trips along the way. And with that, I was just there like helping them through like the process, getting them started with Brightspace, Word, just helping them get used to what college is and what teachers would expect them. expect of them during the upcoming fall semester.
Thank you. Thank you, Pyo. I saw a question come in about the benefits of being a part of the EOP program. I think I'm just going to talk about the actual, like the list of official benefits that come with our guidelines, and then you guys can fill in for a lot of maybe like even the social and like personal emotional support. So being an EOP, I know you heard them talk about a lot about the summer program. Every program across the state, across all 54 campuses, it's mandatory for a student that if you're accepted into that college as an EOP student, you have to do a 3 to 4 week summer program at that school, whether you visited or not. By the way, I was an EOP student. I'm an EOP alum from SUNY Oswego. I got both my bachelor's and my master's from there. My first time on Oswego's campus was when my parents dropped me off at the summer program on a blistering day, braid straight back. My forehead was sweaty, and they just said, you know, and I was there with about 75 other students that was their first time in college. And for that summer program, we spent those 4 weeks learning about the campus, learning how to study and do coursework. We learned about volunteering. We learned about being involved. And it prepped us for what college life was like before we got to our first day as a freshman. So we kind of felt like sophomore level, like with experience while being a freshman. What the summer program does is a larger benefit, and I'll get into other things. What the summer program does is that it sets you up as a safety net to sort of make the mistakes you need to before you get to your freshman year to a point where it's actually detrimental to your GPA. Let's work out all the challenges that you'll have during this 4-week program so that once you get started and everything starts to really matter, you're not still making those same mistakes that general admit might do. We do at a lot of our campuses, our students graduate at a higher rate than regular admit because of the preparation that we do. On top of that, you heard Dmya talk about getting a refund. We do give modest financial support so that we want to make sure that you don't come out of pocket. Is there still an expectation that you will take out loans? Yes, but not as much as a regular admit student. And on top of that, we do give you money each semester for books and supplies if you're in an art major or if you're within certain technical fields in which you need those supplies. It's a stipend that you get there, and it's matched with also, depending on how much you take out your loans, what's left. But every student typically gets a refund and they typically get a refund, but also like it's mixed in with the stipend. It can vary based on what your package is. You'll always get funds to help you with books, supplies, and studying. We also give modest mentoring and tutoring support. Our office specifically has a tutoring program internally outside of what the college does, where we do hire students, mostly EOP students, but sometimes external students who do want to help with the program and know about it, to tutor you even outside of the summer program. You all, as an EOP student, you get your own counselor that follows you until you graduate. They are there for you through every step of the way. I'm pretty sure the three of our ambassadors here can talk about the relationship with theirs. I know about students who weekly they're going crying to their advisor. That's basically their mom or their father, or their uncle or aunt. That's on campus. That's who you have. That is your guardian, et cetera, that you can kind of like just talk to. They help you with their schedule. They make sure things are structured for you in a way that you need it. And sometimes it's a lot of going back and forth because you want college to go a certain way, and college isn't the way that you want it to go. So they kind of help keep you on track with, staying real and honest, and the fact that it's a growing up experience. You're there for the first time by yourself, no supervision. There's no family that's going to wake you up in the morning, but they do try to work that out with you during the summer program. So we talk about the financial supports. We talk about the counseling supports. We do have an honor society and recognize those that are high achieving. Our EOP students are privy to an EOP ambassador position that they can apply for. We also have something that's a pre-med opportunity program. So only for EOP students, those who are interested within a medical or health field can apply and be a part of our pre-med program, where we do a lot of things with help prepping you for the MCAT, shadowing doctors or whoever within the field that you're interested in. You get a whole residency to stay on a medical campus during a little over a month for that summer, freshman or senior. We also introducing a pre-engineering and a pre-mental health program. So those who want to get into engineering, those who want to get into mental health, we really help support and cater that. We're also starting an internship directly out of our office, in which we match you with a New York State agency or host entity that is in the field that you want to be in. Like you get paid for it. We want you to actually get that professional experience so that you're not scrambling when you graduate. Again, even though you're graduating, who's to say that you have that professional experience to, you know, work Excel and do all of those things. So we really try to make your whole college experience a very wraparound type of experience, so that you leave not kind of wondering where you are. And I know, like I said, I'm an EOP student, so I'm biased. I know that I wouldn't have gotten to college without EOP, but two, there's just so much I would not have been prepared had I just done my courses and listened to the guidance folks that were outside of my program and the little that they told me. I just wouldn't have been prepared to encounter the world. So those are kind of the well-rounded benefits of being a part of EOP, and then Dmya, Aryon, or Pyo can kind of fill that in for however they feel like, whatever I missed.
We have to kind of wrap it up. So I just really want to thank you, Donavon, and the three panelists. You were so informative. You were wonderful to listen to. And I know our students felt the same way. And I just want you to know that we have certain names in the list, but there are students, like we have a whole 29 students sitting at Bronx Law who are participating in this. So a shout out to them and to all the students that came today, and of course our Gear Up staff. But it's really important that you scan that QR code and answer our questions, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We're so grateful. And Donavon will send more information about EOP to your Gear Up coordinators. So if you have questions about EOP, or if you're interested in EOP, ask your Gear Up coordinators. We'll send them information.
Thank you so much for having us.
We look forward to it more with you because this was so, so good. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your afternoon, guys.
Thank you so much for having us. I am still located in the 5 boroughs, so if you guys ever need a in-person EOP ambassador to talk to any of the students, I always tell people that I'm open to do so. But again, thank you so much for having Donavon, Pyo, and Dmya with me. And thank you guys also for being open to having a conversation about college, even though there's still time for you guys.
All right. Have a good one, everyone. I'll talk to you later. Bye,
Thank you all
Tessa.
so much.
Thank you.
You guys, bye.
Bye. Bye, bye, bye. That was great. They were wonderful, right?
Everyone is wonderful. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop recording. Thank you, everybody, so much.